Cross stitch, sewing, crochet, all of my patterns are in one giant mess. So today we are organizing all of it. Hey everyone, I'm Jackie from Madam Heart Cross Stitch, and I am finally ready to tackle this giant mess of patterns today and get everything nice and organized. For a long time, I've just been stashing what I could in this flimsy little binder, just using your run-of-the-mill paper protector folders. I don't even know what to call them. Fuck did they go? These things right here. And it worked for a little bit, but because this is flimsy and the top of these are open, things would constantly fall out of here. And then of course, as my stash and the types of patterns I was holding on to started to grow, I quickly ran out of space and this just all became super duper unorganized. Like always, I took to YouTube to start watching videos, seeing how other people were managing all of this. And I landed on a method of organizing this all that I'm really excited about. I will tag the video and creator that kind of inspired this whole project down below in the description. Now, my favorite part about the method I landed on is not only was it going to work for my cross stitch projects, but it was also going to be able to hold cross stitch kits, magazines, and I was especially excited that it would also work for sewing patterns because these are a nightmare to store. I've just been using Ziploc bags, which is fine, but then the bags themselves have ended up stashed all throughout my sewing space and home. So it just has not been organized. So we're gonna go ahead and get all of this sorted out. First, let's quickly talk supplies. I bought these 1.5 inch binders. I have no idea if they're gonna be big enough, but I think as a starting point, these are gonna work great. One binder for each craft or hobby is gonna be plenty. In the original video I watched, she had like a pretty nice big stash of cross stitch patterns. So she used multiple binders and then had them organized by theme, which was like, seemed very, very smart and practical. So I really did like that. But for me, I think I will only need one binder each for cross stitch, plastic canvas, sewing, and crochet. The next thing I got to put inside of the binders were these plastic folders. I love that there is a zipper enclosure to the side. I feel like that's really gonna solve my problem that I was having before where things would just kind of slip right out. Now, one big important note I wanna make about these, they were described in the product description as being archival safe, but after doing a little bit of research, these are made from PVC, which it looks like is not technically archival safe. So if that's important to you, I just wanted to point it out. And I am by no means an expert, nor am I even knowledgeable about anything about that. Me personally, I am not worried about storing my patterns for archival historical purposes. This is just to get my day-to-day stuff organized. So I'm okay with it. So again, what I liked about these in particular, it's a zipper enclosure. I prefer that over a button or snap enclosure because again, I feel like it's just gonna be better at holding things in. I also like that they're mostly see-through so that I can just see what is in there and I don't have to worry about labeling anything. I did also buy this style of binder pocket. This is like a Velcro tab, so I feel like it's not as secure as the zipper, but these might be able to fit a little bit more in there. So if I have something that's like really big and bulky, I'll have a couple of these on hand, hopefully, to be able to store that stuff. And that's really it for supplies, which is amazing. So let's go ahead and start organizing. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with cross stitch. And I don't know what it is. I just feel like cross stitch goes with the pink pastel color. We're gonna roll with it. A little bit with my thought process with this, you can see here I have like 2 kits stored in these, which is I think one of the really big benefit of using these zipper pockets. I can have the whole kit in here, everything kept together, and then keeping that photo reference on the front, I know exactly what's in there. Now, obviously, these 2 kits are pretty small. I have a bit of a larger one, so I'm gonna see if that also fits. So I won't be able to fit this whole thing in here, but it's really just the floss card, which I won't use because I would use floss drops. But then it does have this QR code for using an app with this pattern. So I'm just gonna cut that. to size. And then, you know what, since I'm here, just in case I were to need this, I can cut it just a little bit to fit in there. So I've got my fabric, all of the floss, slide my pattern in there. And again, I'll put that photo right there on the front. So I'm able to fit that whole thing in there. Oh, it's gonna look so nice. Now, I'm also not a magazine collector. I actually had a whole pile of cross-stitch magazines and I gave them away in a destashing a while ago. But this one, I'm actually featured in Thread Organization. So of course I wanna keep it. I have the pages I'm in already framed and hung up, but I would love to just hold on to this copy of the magazine as well. And again, if you are really into cross-stitch magazines, you could have a whole binder dedicated just for storing those. Now I want to go through and just pull out some of my older cross-stitch patterns. Now I'm not big on paper patterns for cross-stitch specifically. I'd much rather work with the electronic ones. So these are ones that I've already completed in the past, but definitely don't want to get rid of. So I'm gonna stick these away. This one's actually electronic as well, but I know I've got like some notes and stuff in here. So I want to go ahead and keep it. And then especially with patterns like this, I know it's pretty beat up, but these nicer printed patterns, definitely don't want to get rid of those. I've already obviously completed this one, but I do have some other paper patterns, but they're kitted up and like being actively worked on. So anything that I've started and is in its own project bag and being worked on, those are all stored separately in project bags. So this binder will be things that are finished or haven't yet been started. Anything else that's like fully kitted up that I'm actively working on is in a project bag. The next big step for this project, I mentioned it already, but I really, for cross-stitch patterns specifically, prefer electronic. If I can put it on my iPad or on Pattern Keeper on my tablet, that's what I want to be doing. But what I run into is I really forget what electronic patterns I even have. What I did is I just printed the first page of all of the electronic patterns I have, just so I at least know what's there. I'm a visual person. I really need to see things to know they are there. It might seem a little wasteful, but again, I just printed the top page. Like, oh, these ones are plastic canvas. I'll pull those out. So again, just printed the top page. They're all gonna get their own little sleeve. It might be a little wasteful, but for me, it's gonna really be worth it because it's all gonna be consistent and I will be able to just quickly see what I have when I'm deciding what to work on next. Now, for something like this, if you wanted to do the same thing, you could just use one of these more, you know, basic file folders if you wanted. But this way, if I have like special floss or fabric set aside for one of these projects, I can just put it in here, even if it's not like fully kitted up to be worked on. So I just kind of like this way of doing it. I will link to these exact binder pockets that I'm using. I will say, in addition to the disclaimer that this material technically is not archival, even though they are described that way, it's got that like plasticky vinyl smell. I know that will go away a little bit with time. It will kind of air out, but just an FYI, if you buy these exact ones, they are a little bit plasticky smelling. Okay, so that's all the patterns. The other thing I was thinking would be kind of nice to stick in the same binder are these supplies. So this is a bunch of sulky stick and stitch. It's kind of cool. You can actually print directly on here as well. And then you stick it to like a piece of clothing, something you want to hand embroider, and then you can follow that printed pattern and then it washes away when you're done. And then I also have some stabilizer and another little stick and stitch pattern that came from Sulky when they sent me these. I think I may use one of these guys for this stuff. Yeah, that fits awesome. All right, that one's a little bulky, but I think it's gonna work. So I think I definitely wanna put this one in the back and then this magazine next. And then probably go in, I think, with my kits. Actually, I changed my mind. Before I go in with my kits, I'm gonna put my completed patterns back here. Now, it's kind of already at max capacity, but everything else is just the pages. So let's see. Definitely max capacity, but it's gonna work from now. But this is just so nice. I can flip through. Again, if I ever pick up like special threads or fabric that I know I'm gonna be using for any of these patterns, I can just stick them in the bag. And I've got all my PDF patterns up front. I've got some kits in the back. Patterns I've already completed, magazines, supplies, it's all here. So a few things I could do differently. One, I could divide patterns from kits and supplies, give them all their own binder. If this pile doesn't grow too much, I could also just get a much bigger binder. These are only 1.5 inch binders. It's really easy to find 3, 4, or 5 inch binders online. So I can definitely just put this all in a bigger binder and I will have plenty of room. But for now, I think this works. I think I'm gonna tackle my plastic canvas patterns next. Those are very disorganized, but let's go ahead and get to it. So just like with cross stitch patterns, I do have quite a lot of PDF plastic canvas projects. The thing that's different is with plastic canvas, I really like to print those patterns out because I always end up making a ton of notes when I'm cutting the plastic and stitching them. So these are ones I haven't done yet. That's why it's not fully printed out. This was a kit. Yes, I knew there was more of that pattern elsewhere. And these ones, I don't even think I'm gonna put in any type of specific order because with plastic canvas, even the stuff that I've completed, I'm so much more likely to make it again. Cross stitch, I don't really feel that way with. Like, I don't feel the need to stitch the same pattern twice. This one is such a cute Halloween project. I think it's funny that with cross stitch, I really despise paper patterns. Like, I avoid them as much as I can. But with both plastic canvas and crochet, it's the exact opposite. Like, I will print the whole thing out, even when it's that thick, because I want to be able to make notes and stuff while I'm working on it. And even though some of these printed ones, like these are PDF patterns, I could just go back and print them again if I ever needed to, but you know, I prefer to not be wasteful if I can avoid it. So if I've already printed this, being able to store all the pages together and just keep it organized is like a big plus in my book. Like it for plastic canvas. So these all fit really nice in this binder. And now for crochet, this is just like with plastic canvas. These are almost all PDF patterns, but I will, you know, make these things multiple times. And obviously you really need to keep track of your rows when you're crocheting. So I really like to have paper copies and I just write directly on these to make notes while I work on projects. So this helps me avoid having to try to find where the heck I have the PDF stored, because you know that's not organized. I do have a couple of little books. I think I'll just keep these two together. I love these Annie's Kit Clubs. This one I have not made yet. Look how gorgeous that is. But it's like a monthly subscription. So they send you the booklet and the yarn once a month. It's super fun. I had made this one previously. Beautiful. So again, I'll keep all these books. There's great, you know, different stitches in here. Now I'm not like sorting these in any specific way. I'm just putting everything in there. Obviously you could sort everything, you know, by the type of thing it is, whether it's a blanket, clothing, baby stuff. If you have a huge stash, just like with cross stitch, you could use different binders for different themes. Maybe you have all your blankets and Afghans in one binder. Maybe you have all your clothing patterns in a binder. You know, you could also just add tab dividers within here for the different items you have if you wanted to get way more organized. But with crochet especially, like these are patterns I usually come back to again and again and again. So very nice that they're all there, easy to find now. Last up, we have sewing patterns. Now I know this is probably going to be way too bulky for the 1.5 inch binder, but I'm at least going to get everything set in here and we'll kind of see where we're at. I'm debating the stuff I have in Ziploc bags, if I just want to stick those in there. I think I will. And I'll be honest, I already forgot I had 90% of these patterns. Man, I feel like every video I make, something makes me think of Joann's and I miss it all over again, but I loved when they would do their pattern sales. It was the best. Again, with sewing patterns, I know the trend is to just buy PDFs and then you can print them yourself at home. I really dislike doing that. I really prefer having it on this material. I know some people hate that material. I love it. Maybe one day I'll graduate to using a projector and not having any type of printed pattern, which would be great, but I am just not there yet. And again, you wouldn't need to have each of these in their own individual bag if you didn't want to. You know, you could put multiple packets in one of these. This is just kind of the way I prefer to do it for now. I posted a video about this casserole cover. Once in a while I get comments on it asking for like the next step or end result. I have not finished it yet. The nice thing with these zipper pouches, obviously I'm just throwing everything in there, Ziploc bag and all. You can be as organized as you want with this or not. You know, I'm just kind of throwing stuff in here. Totally organizing it will be a different project for future me. But now it's just getting it all kind of in its place. This one, I do at least want to be able to see what it is. That's what's more important to me. And you'll notice I have some vintage sewing patterns. eBay and Etsy, that's where I'm typically finding these, and I love it. I don't think all of this is going to fit in one of these, but I'm gonna put them in there for now, and then I'm definitely gonna upgrade both my sewing patterns and cross stitch to bigger binders, but let's get it in here for now. So from one giant unorganized pile of patterns to now 4 binders, I am feeling really good about this system in general, and I love that it works for so many different style of crafts. Like, it's perfect for my cross stitch patterns, but it's also great for my crochet, plastic canvas, and especially sewing patterns. Speaking of which, obviously, like I knew, this 1.5 inch binder was not gonna cut it for all of these sewing patterns. So I'll definitely be upgrading some of the sizes of the binders and probably organizing just a little bit more, dialing in the way everything's sorted within the binders as well. So I'm sure I will post a follow-up video in the coming weeks to show you what the final organization of this looks like. Like always, I would love to hear from you. If you do something similar and have some feedback, I would love to hear it. Or if you have a different way of storing all of your patterns that you think is chef's kiss, the best, of course, please let me know in the comments below. Once again, I'm Jackie from Atom Heart Cross Stitch. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support my channel and see more content like this in the future, please do all the good things, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, happy stitching.